The man of God told them that the more of the bricks they manage to break from the wall is how much of their problems will disappear. So if you know you have problems and you want your problems to disappear, go over there and break the wall of Jericho that is holding you back. Go. And they finished a whole stretch of a wall, in fact, almost a whole building, in demolishing their problems. You know that thing that when you have anger problems, right? And when you go for therapy, then at the point they will give you this squeeze ball, right? That if you are angry, that you want to break something, squeeze that ball. Or maybe get a quiet room where you can just, when you get mad, oh, you want to scream, you can break things. So you put things there to break. So that's exactly what they told them. If you know you have problems, if this Nigeria problem is actually affecting you, go to that wall now, break it down. That is the wall of Jericho holding back your progress. But the real problem is still yet to come. Like this one, the taxing and taxation. This man is actually very much hilarious, right? Talking about the forged, the forged taxes, tax law of Tinubu, which is generating its own controversy. The more they try to explain it away, the more they expose themselves. But the highlight of it is that, them coming to your bank or coming to your home and all of that stuff, right? I believe it's practically like exaggerated, so to say, okay? So Tinubu and his gang continue to remind Nigerians that this new tax law is going to protect over 90% of you. And those of you who are going to get paid from this month, you are going to notice that you're going to get more money, because the payee, the money, the normally taxes that you remove from your money, your income, right? This time is going to be reduced than what it used to be. And people are still pretty much confused. But watch this.
The taxman can come to your house to arrest you without a court order. Are you not scared? Are you not worried? They can come without a court order. That means that this taxman is going to have much more power than almost the IG of police. He can come to anybody he suspects of infraction and says, okay, you're arrested. Come and explain yourself. That means that even the new tax law can also serve for a weapon of politics and politics.
That's the fair, right? Why are you opposed to the new tax law?
Steve, I think that the tragedy of our nation is the fact that most times we do not research information. Oftentimes, the tragedy of our state is the fact that our people throw information in the air and refuse to crystallize, refuse to research, refuse to interrogate them. And what we see in the media and in the public space, critique without substance. Now, let's do the right thing. And people have called me and said, fallacies, forgery and fakery. And I asked them, how much do you know of this forgery, the fallacies and this fakery? And almost unfortunately, Steve, even in the media, people do not seem to understand the enormity of the challenge that we have on our hands. We have a new tax law, the 2025 Tax Appropriation Act. And you ask yourself, what are these challenges? What is the forgery? Steve, I'm going to use strong words, but politely. Now, you have 8 major alterations. Most Nigerians do not know. 8 major alterations. That goes to the life, the intent, the content, and the substance of that act. One talks about the thresholds. The National Assembly raised the thresholds and said, okay, for instance, people who earn so and so should be taxed. People who earn so and so should not be taxed. Those who went, like your intro, who went behind the scene to doctor forge, fake, and alter that law reduced the thresholds as substantial forgery. You talk about, Nigerians should listen, this is very important. You talk about issues as to who is exempted, who is not. And then the oil sector, which is the major, they're the ones who profiteer from the Nigerian estate. The alteration removes some of the petroleum sector and their taxes. And then you look at another fundamental issue which is very important as we talk today, because I think it should be more about our nation than about politics. I'm not here to talk politics basically. I'm here to appeal to the conscience of our citizenry, appeal to the conscience of our president, appeal to the conscience of the minders of our presidency, and appeal to the conscience of our clergy. And I'll tell you why. Steve, they also went into that act, one of the 8 alterations, and said, the taxman can come to your house to arrest you without a court order. Are you not scared? Are you not worried? They can come without a court order. That means that this taxman is going to have much more power than almost the IG of police. He can come to anybody he suspects of infraction and says, okay, you're arrested. Come and explain yourself. That means that even the new tax law can also serve for a weapon of politics and politics.
That's the fear, right? Is that the fear?
Oh, it's major. It means that, and that's why I'm concerned, and that's why I talked about the clergy. If you're a clergy, a GO, a general overseer, or whatever you are, and you're not concerned and you're not speaking out, you're rogue. If you're a political operator and you're more concerned about 2027 than about what obtains now, you're rogue. If you're the minder of the president and you're involved in the presidency and you're not concerned about this forgery, you're rogue. If you're in the National Assembly and you're not speaking up and speaking out, you're rogue. If you're a governor and you're not speaking up and speaking out, you're rogue. And I tell you why. Steve, this new tax law and the alterations that the National Assembly is quiet about and they're not saying to Mr. President, you cannot enforce, allows for authoritarianism, despotism. No, because if they are not quiet about it, Steve, if they're not quiet about it, Steve, let's be frank. If they're not quiet about it, they would say to Mr. President, suspend until we harmonize. Steve, the truth is that they're playing politics with everything. And this is fundamentally important. How does this affect the masses of our people and our politics? We live in a country where we're no longer talking about fake prophets, forged priests. We're not talking about fake and forged documents. We're talking about the law. The law. If a law that should govern our economy and our finances is forged, and we think it's all right to go ahead with it, then we're in trouble as a people. We're not only in trouble as a people, then we have some question with our conscience, emotions, and ideals as a people. And Steve, in the good year, a new year goodwill messages across the clergy, across every sector, I saw governors speaking to the new year that they want to be profound, profuse, and awesome. I heard clergy talking about a new year that they want to be great and awesome. And I asked myself, on what are you predicating it? On a new year that the federal government has told you, we have a new tax law, and the threshold is lower than the National Assembly allowed. That means that tomorrow the taxman could call my dear sister and say, oh, you got to pay this, and if you don't pay this, you're arrested tomorrow. That means that the taxman can call you, Steve, and say, oh, we heard this is how much you're paid, and you fall into this delineation. They can do that without regards to the tax.
He's not lying. And that is the part that they are not really emphasizing on very well. The selling point of their new tax law. Okay, let's start from the base. A law was made by the National Assembly, and it was transmitted to the president to sign, to assent to it. Then it becomes law. So once the president signed, then they are going to gazette it. So it becomes law at that point. And everyone is expected to abide by it. But in the process of that transmission of this law to the presidency, that was publicly signed and was publicly available. You could download the copy at the time. And this is what brought about this suspicion, which has finally proven to be right, or proved to be right. Right? So they've altered the content of what they gazetted, which will be implemented according to plan from the 1st of January. So their own selling point is that don't bother yourself about all of these. Come on. There's a threshold. There are people exempted. Some of you are not going to pay any taxes. Some of you are going to see that you're not going to pay taxes at all. But there are some certain things you need to do as well, okay? So that when you earn money, you need to explain the money. If you just explain the money, you know what I mean? That's it. There is nothing else. But buried inside that law, the one they have now altered, right? The alteration they made inside it empowered the taxman, whoever they call the taxman then in charge, to actually categorize you. If you probably feels like, okay, I probably will just explain the money that I'm getting and the rest of that in his own discretion, right? Can decide that, no, you actually belong to this category, not this category. The first time they told you that, oh, you are exempted if you're not earning about 5 million, if your business is not having 5 million turnover every month, don't worry yourself about taxes. If you are not earning above 800,000 a year, don't worry about taxes. Oh, sorry, if your business is not doing a 5 million turnover in a year, don't worry about taxes. This and that, all those explanations, right? They are the pedestrian part, easy part. The other part that actually empowered the taxman in this sense, not like, let's say, for example, they feel like you are evading tax. Do you understand that? Like in the past, you evaded this tax, you are supposed to pay this and that, blah, blah, blah. The Tinubu's tax law could have been a wonderful thing, but unfortunately, the real agenda behind it is pure extortion, all right? And then their usual political patronage, okay? Meaning, Tinubu and his gang want to have their hands on the entire till of revenue generation in Nigeria, and then promising that, by this, we'll make more money, especially from big firms, big businesses, you know, they'll pay more now, and they are our targets, not you, the poor people, all right? So in the process, they've embedded inside that same law that now gives the supposed Federal Inland Revenue Service, which they have changed the name, by the way, to something funny now, I don't know. So FIRS, or former FIRS, right? They now give them the power to not only to give, what do you call that thing? Licenses or so to some platforms to collect taxes, which means if you are paying taxes regularly in Nigeria, right? You probably will be used to some of the platforms, Remitter, and the others like that are collecting taxes for federal government, okay? Yeah? Now, their job is just for you when you want to pay. Go through these platforms and pay. Calculate your tax and all of that and pay. And they remit the money to government of Nigeria, taking their own cut. In this, their new law, not only those people remitting money, you are remitting money to, there will be a different kind of like agency. Their job is to now actually track you, not by looking at your name on social media or anything, no, through your bank. And that's why the new thing, you know, tax identification number is something they say you could use your BVN and all of that. So they are putting together this in order to see how money flows in or out of your bank. And if you are reporting it as something else, they could classify it as something else too. And this time, they will come for you. Do you get what I mean now? Like properly. They could go to your bank, they could like arrest you. All of this without court judgments or court order. You know this funniest thing again. If they have concluded that you're not paying the right taxes, they will do that, not really you. You're not paying the right one. Now you're supposed to pay this, and we have found that you are owing a certain amount of money. They are actually telling people right now that they are not coming after you that your tax is 1 million or 2 million. You are not their target. No, you are going to be their target eventually, right? So theirs is that they could arrest you. And if you are arrested, for example, like you want to fight it, before you can go to court, if they say your tax is 2 million naira that you have not paid, for example, or 1 million naira that you have not paid, you will need to pay 20% of that money first before you can file a case that you want to fight this. It's not like you can easily just go to court and say, no, this is wrong, I want to fight it. And if you lose, you still go and pay. But if you win, then you pay the right one that court says you should pay, and then you keep paying, right? This time, you can't go to court. You will need to first pay them 20% of that money they said you are owing before any court can even take your case, whatever it is. This is so strange. But they are telling people that, no, not you. We are talking about billionaires. We are talking about people who are making real money. But it is Nigeria. So it's so hard to believe that. And that's what this man is trying to say.
Delineation. They can do that without regards to anybody. And then one of the worrisome part of it, for me, Steve, is the fact that one of the attractions says that they don't need to go back quarterly to the National Assembly. That means that we have despotism, authoritarianism, dictatorship, and impunity on our space. Steve, it's worrisome. It should bother you. It should bother the governors. It should bother the clergy. It should bother the National Assembly. We're in trouble.
Will the alterations stand? Do you think they will stand? The
law is in place already.
No, but it will be regazetted, won't it?
How do you regazette without reviewing?
Is that not the basis to talk about, if you know what I'm
Steve,
talking
can we communicate here?
Do
you have to regazette before reviewing?
But it's the basis to go to the court, isn't it? To say that the law that you're implementing for which you want to arrest
Chris went to court in 2023, what came out of it? Go to court is now the praxis for just waste some time. And I think that what is important in 2026 is for the masses of our people to rise up to interrogate fundamental issues. Eternal vigilance is the price for freedom and liberty. I'm not here to disparage anyone. I'm here to say to our countrymen, to those who are in the APC, the ADC, and across political tendencies, to understand that statesmen think about the citizenry, statesmen think about the nation, politicians think about the next election, and the time to begin to think about our nation is now. To President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his minders, the time to think about Nigeria and the nation is now. I am not concerned. Steve, I didn't come here to talk about 2027, and I beg you, oblige me that position.
Absolutely.
Some people will say to me, Professor, you were part of the Labour Party, you were part of Peter Obi's campaign in 2023, he's now in ADC, what do you think? That's not what I'm concerned about now. I'm concerned about my people, the masses of our country. Steve, I'm concerned about the thousands of Nigerians who do not understand what I went through the whole of last year, and who think that I have enough money to send monies to accounts for Christmas and New Year, who think that you have enough 10,000, 20,000 to give when the economy is in doldrums, who think that you must somehow have monies to dish. I think that we're all caught in the same situation as a people, and we must rise to the truth and the urgency of now and challenge leadership to responsible and responsive action, challenge leadership to do less of mendacious and perfidious statistics, challenge leadership to do more of realistic appraisal of the nation and what affects our people. And let me tickle your mind a bit, Steve. Over the past years, Nigerians stayed long hours on the roads, traveling to their villages. This last Yuletide, Nigerians spent nights on the roads. And then this government tells you that the roads are better. Use your tongue to count your teeth. So I think that the challenge of the present hour and the present day is to call government to be truthful and forthright to the people.
No, you have spoken very well. And I like the fact that you alluded to the fact that we've gotten a lot of messages from clergy, from governors. We've heard different things like 2026 is the year of shared unity, shared prosperity, the year of destiny. But I want to ask you, do you see 2026 as the year of consolidation or correction for the Tinubu administration? And what benchmarks should Nigerians use to measure success? I'm talking about all the structural reforms that have been initiated. What benchmarks should we use to measure the success?
God bless you, my dear sister. Let me tell you why I'm getting a bit very emotional this morning. If anybody's saying that 2026 is going to be a year of consolidation, I ask God to forgive the person. It's going to be a year of corrections. Nothing but corrections. This government must start with correcting the first anomaly, the forged tax law. And then this government must wake up to the urgency of now. This government must understand that 1,000 spokespersons, 1,000 gaslighting, 1,000 perfidy and mendacity will not change the reality. Steve, I know what you went through. I'm not speaking like a clairvoyant. You may not say it here, but your December people troubled you. Not because you're a billionaire, but because they see you on national TV My dear sister, they were on you. The reality is that across our nation, the poverty mark has deepened. So those who tell you that the economy is bouncing back are not being true to themselves. And we live in a country where, strangely, Steve, people swear with sacred things in the name of speaking and defending government. Those who are standing on a mandate have refused to be true to that mandate. They have refused to speak truth to power. Have we had a country this bad? No, we haven't. Can we have it better? Yes, we can. So should our president and the minders of our presidency be fair and true